The television courtroom had never seen arrogance collide with accountability quite like this before. Karen Mitchell, a 45-year-old self-proclaimed social media influencer with perfectly styled hair and an expensive designer outfit that practically begged for attention, sat in the defendant's chair, radiating pure entitlement. Even as the bailiff called the court to order, she casually scrolled through her phone with the confidence of someone who believed rules only applied to ordinary people. She had no idea that within minutes, her entire carefully crafted fake life was about to collapse in front of millions of viewers. What began as a simple dispute over an unpaid photography invoice was about to become one of the most explosive courtroom moments ever aired on television. And Karen had absolutely no clue that the text messages sitting inside Judge Judy's case file were about to destroy her marriage, expose her affair, and shatter her fake influencer image forever. Judge Judy Sheindlin sat calmly behind the bench with the unshakable confidence of someone who had spent decades humiliating dishonest people who thought they were smarter than the legal system. At 78 years old, she carried herself with the sharp focus and zero-tolerance attitude that had made her one of the most feared and respected judges in television history. She had studied this case carefully the night before, and something hidden inside the evidence had immediately caught her attention. Karen Mitchell wasn't simply another entitled customer refusing to pay a bill. She was a manipulative fraud, and today, Judge Judy was ready to expose her in spectacular fashion. Across the courtroom sat the plaintiff, Jessica Romano, a 28-year-old photographer clutching a thick folder packed with contracts, screenshots, invoices, and printed social media posts. Jessica had spent years building her photography business from nothing while raising her 6-year-old daughter alone. She worked long nights waitressing just to afford camera equipment and editing software. The $3,200 Karen owed her wasn't just another invoice. It was rent money, grocery money, and the difference between survival and losing everything she had worked for. Jessica had spent 12 exhausting hours photographing Karen's daughter's sweet 16 party, capturing more than 500 edited images that Karen immediately posted across her Instagram account with glowing praise, heart emojis, and public compliments. But only 3 days later, Karen suddenly refused payment, claiming the photos were unprofessional and damaging to her social media brand. For 2 months, Jessica tried everything to resolve the issue peacefully before finally filing the lawsuit. She had no idea Judge Judy was about to destroy Karen in ways nobody could imagine. At first glance, the case looked simple. A signed contract, photography services completed, photos delivered, client refused payment. Judge Judy had handled thousands of cases exactly like this. But this case had something extra, something explosive. During discovery, additional evidence had surfaced. Private text messages, financial records, and social media analytics that painted a disturbing picture behind Karen's glamorous Instagram lifestyle. Judge Judy opened the hearing with her usual sharp tone. Miss Mitchell, you're being sued for refusing to pay $3,200 for photography services you contracted and received. Tell me why you believe you don't owe this money. Karen leaned back dramatically in her chair and flipped her hair over her shoulder like she was filming an Instagram reel instead of appearing in court. Your Honor, I run a successful mommy and lifestyle brand with over 47,000 Instagram followers. My platform depends on high-quality aesthetic content. The photos Miss Romano delivered were completely unusable. They made my daughter look basic. The lighting was terrible, and honestly, posting them could damage my brand. Judge Judy raised one eyebrow slightly, the warning sign. Did you sign a contract agreeing to pay Miss Romano $200 for 12 hours of photography coverage? Karen waved dismissively. Well, technically, yes. But I signed before realizing she couldn't produce Instagram quality work. My audience expects perfection. Judge Judy leaned forward slightly. I'm looking at evidence showing that you posted over 200 of these unusable photographs on your Instagram account within hours of receiving them. You praised the photos publicly and tagged Miss Romano's business repeatedly. Would you like to explain that contradiction? Karen hesitated for the first time. Well, I was trying to be polite initially, but later, after speaking to other influencers, we all agreed the photos weren't professional enough. Jessica clenched her fists in frustration as Karen casually rewrote reality in front of the courtroom. Judge Judy continued calmly. So you used the photographs, benefited from them publicly, generated engagement from them, and only decided they were worthless after it came time to pay? Karen shrugged arrogantly. Business is business. Judge Judy's tone sharpened immediately. And what exactly qualifies you as an expert in professional photography? Karen smiled proudly. I have 47,000 Instagram followers. I understand visual branding, lighting, composition, and what performs online. My follower count speaks for itself. Judge Judy nodded slowly. So your qualifications come from Instagram followers? Karen smiled wider. Exactly. Social media success is the modern credential. The trap had officially been set. Judge Judy calmly opened the signed contract and read it aloud. Miss Mitchell, this agreement clearly states payment is due upon delivery of edited photographs. Miss Romano delivered 512 edited images within the agreed timeline. You acknowledge receiving them. You posted them publicly. You owe the money. Any reasonable person would have backed down at that moment. Karen Mitchell wasn't reasonable. With a dramatic sigh, she crossed her arms and made the mistake that would destroy her life forever. Look, Your Honor, no offense, but maybe if you were more familiar with modern social media standards instead of growing up in the 1950s, you'd understand why these photos are unusable. Your generation just doesn't understand influencer culture. The entire courtroom froze. Even the stenographer stopped typing. Gasps echoed through the audience as everyone realized Karen had just insulted Judge Judy's age directly to her face on national television. Jessica stared in complete disbelief. Farron, however, sat there smirking proudly, completely unaware that she had just detonated a bomb underneath her own life. Judge Judy slowly leaned forward. Her voice dropped into that dangerously quiet tone. Viewers knew meant disaster was coming. Excuse me, Miss Mitchell. Would you like to repeat that? For one brief second, Karen looked nervous. Then her arrogance took over again. I'm just saying. Your Honor, you're almost 80 years old. You probably don't even use Instagram. How could you possibly understand modern influencer standards? The silence became suffocating. Judge Judy sat perfectly still before finally responding. I am 78 years old. I've practiced law since 1965. I presided over more than 20,000 cases before this television show ever existed. I have forgotten more about evidence, contracts, and human behavior than you will ever learn. Karen's confidence finally started cracking, but Judge Judy was only beginning. Now let's discuss your expertise as a social media influencer. Judge Judy opened a thick folder. Karen's expression immediately changed. According to research submitted into evidence, approximately 35,000 of Karen's 47,000 followers were purchased from fake bot accounts. Her engagement rate was almost non-existent. Her successful influencer brand generated less than $200 per month. Judge Judy's voice became ice cold. You are not a successful influencer, Miss Mitchell. You are a fraud who purchased fake followers to create the illusion of popularity. Karen's face completely drained of color. Judge Judy continued, You're also drowning in over $60,000 of credit card debt while pretending to live a luxury lifestyle online. Your checking account contains less than $900. Your savings account is empty. You lease your car, finance your designer items, and you are months behind on payments. The courtroom sat in total silence. Karen looked physically sick. Then Judge Judy delivered the real bombshell. But the most interesting discovery came from your phone records. Karen instantly froze. Judge Judy held up Karen's phone. These text messages between you and your husband tell a very different story. Karen panicked immediately. Those are private marital conversations. Judge Judy shut her down instantly. They were legally subpoenaed. The camera cut toward the audience where Karen's husband David sat looking absolutely terrified. Judge Judy began reading the texts aloud. David, is the photographer still there? We need to talk about Marcus. Karen, can't talk now. Marcus is getting impatient about the condo. The audience erupted in whispers. Judge Judy continued, David, tell your boyfriend to wait. We close next week. Then you can leave and I keep the house. Gasps filled the courtroom. Karen looked like she might faint. Judge Judy stared directly at her. So while Miss Romano was photographing your daughter's party, you and your husband were texting about your affairs and divorce plans. Karen couldn't even respond. Judge Judy continued reading. Karen, we're over budget. We can't pay the photographer. David, then refuse payment. Say the photos were bad. We need the money for your condo with Marcus. Karen, good idea. I'll post the photos first so she can't say I didn't use them, David. Perfect. She's just some struggling photographer. She won't have money to sue. The courtroom exploded. Jessica burst into tears immediately. Everything finally made sense. Karen had planned the fraud from the beginning. Judge Judy slammed her gavel for order. This was premeditated theft, Miss Mitchell. You conspired to steal from a struggling single mother so you could fund your affair. Karen desperately tried defending herself. Your Honor, we were just having marital problems. Judge Judy cut her off instantly. You planned fraud through text messages while Miss Romano worked in your home. Then came the final humiliation. Judge Judy calmly held up her own phone. And for your information, Miss Mitchell, I do have Instagram. I have 2.3 million verified followers, real followers, not purchased bots. The audience burst into laughter. Karen looked completely shattered. But Judge Judy still wasn't done. More texts revealed both Karen and David were cheating on each other while secretly negotiating divorce terms during their daughter's birthday party. The entire marriage was fake. The influencer lifestyle was fake. The follower count was fake. Everything Karen built her identity around was a lie. Finally, Judge Judy delivered the verdict. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,200 plus court costs plus punitive damages for fraud. Total judgment, $8,200. Karen collapsed into tears immediately. Judge Judy delivered one final statement before dismissing the case. I may be 78 years old, Miss Mitchell, but I still know how to recognize a fraud within 30 seconds. The gavel slammed down. Case dismissed. Karen was escorted out, sobbing uncontrollably while cameras captured every second of her public humiliation. Within hours of the episode airing, Karen's Instagram account was flooded with backlash before eventually disappearing completely. Her blog shut down. Her marriage officially ended days later. Her boyfriend vanished. Her fake influencer career collapsed overnight. Meanwhile, Jessica Romano's photography business exploded with support from viewers across the country. And Karen Mitchell became permanently infamous as the woman who mocked Judge Judy's age moments before Judge Judy completely destroyed her entire life using her own text messages against her.